Hello, YouTubers. It is Shari again with more of Just My Opinion, and wasn't expecting to get a wild hair across my hat, but it's my phone telling me that I'm going live. Wasn't expecting to get a wild hair across my hat so soon, but a thought occurred to me, and what other purpose is there for the public vomitorium than to share what little low IQ that we have to offer the world? Now, I was going through social media feed and realized how much of a house cat I have turned into. I'm almost feral. Let me explain why. I'm this is something that's on my mind and it won't let it go. It's not something I can brush away like a spider's web. It's more of like I've walked my entire body into a spider's web and I'm flailing around trying to get every last little bit of the web off of me. And I'm not afraid of spiders. Being in our homes for so long and having our movements limited, granted, there is a virus, and I know people who have caught COVID, people who have recovered. I don't know anybody who has passed away from it, but I know there are people who've had, losses in their family. So I'm not going to get into were the lockdowns, were the shelter in place options an overreach. Go find somebody else for that. I see there's people here, so go ahead and hit that like button, get past the algorithms. Make sure to share if you have not subscribed, become the next one on the list to get those alerts when I go live. I really, really believe that these lockdowns are causing people to become like cats, very feral or wild animals or, I don't know, almost cave dwellers because just the simple acts of going outside is either one of those things you have to pump yourself up and give yourself the locker room talk, and it's like, okay, so I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go to this, and I got my wipes, and I got my hand sanitizer, and I got my mask, and I got my goggles if you wear them. I've actually kind of weaned myself off wearing the goggles, even though I still know that you can get spittle in your eye, and that's the quickest way to get a virus. It's that locker room, like, "Okay, so I have this, and I'm going here, and this time of day, and here and everywhere," and you just kinda pump yourself up just to get out the door before you turn around and lock it. And other days, it's going out the door, and you're like Peter Frampton running across the beach, singing about freedom, or, you know, one of those 2. There's no spectrum, it's one or the other. And I've noticed that I have become more and more like my house cat because of it. Going Just the thought of going to the beach is like, "Oh, no, it's too big. It's really ridiculous. I can't go. There's gonna be people there." And the other part of my brain is like, "Yeah, that's what I need. I need to be around people. I need to talk with people. First of all, this is a way for me to talk with people. I can see that there's one person on there. Please hit the like button, get past the algorithms. But this is so impersonal, so battery operated way that we're designed. We're not designed to be little office people in our cubbies, in our cubicles, and just be satisfied in our safe space away from others because even though communication through touch is used mostly by children. Children get information from other people through play and make believe, information about themselves. Well, adults need it too. Oh my God, he farted again. Adults need that too. Mm, Hold on a second. Just come in here just a fart. Whoo, buddy. Is that a commentary on the topic? Earlier today was me doing that. Yeah, shut up. It's that simple standing in the grocery store line, you have somebody with 5 months of groceries in front of you, and myself, I usually only have 2 carts that are filled, and you want the normal course of action is to strike up a conversation, even though people are wearing masks, even though there's the physical distancing, none of the social distancing BS, because social means not talking with anybody. Physicality, that's keeping far enough apart. Okay. Physical distancing. Physical. Standing there in line, my natural instinct is to strike up a conversation about really anything. I look at what the person's buying, kind of look at them, kind of get a vibe in the air, and I just start talking, just in general, out loud enough so people can hear. And then whoever kind of, bites the hook after I drop it in the water, we pick up a conversation. It is very difficult for people to want to sustain a conversation because you don't want to talk long enough or fill the air with your droplets and then fill the air with somebody else's droplets and then everyone's spitting on each other, like we used to. I wonder what it's going to be like for birthday cakes. Probably people putting saran wrap over the cake and then putting the candles in, having the kid or the birthday boy or girl blow them out, and then taking the candles out, lifting up the saran. That's an idea. See more people coming on. Hit that like button. Get past the algorithms. You can do it. So just getting out of your house, getting into buildings and running errands and wanting to not have to do around people when you see them coming up and down the aisle, having to kind of sidestep and kind of do this crab walk around things. And before it used to be rude, now you're supposed to act that way. This lack of human contact, and it's not just talking with people because Zoom, Zoom is like getting it on with a robot, personally. Just my opinion. Being able to try to keep your attention focused on the camera, but then you're looking down here at the box or whichever side it is, and you always kind of look like you're looking away from people or you're cross-eyed or someone hit you upside the face. Now your eyeballs point in the wrong direction. It's so nice to sit down across from somebody. In fact, I have a lunch date with my friend Rose to have coffee, and I'm not sure where we're going to go, but I want it to be someplace where we can sit down out in the sun and just be jazz hands. I'm looking forward to that. Yes, I'm still worried about COVID. Yes, I'm still worried about getting it, but I'm more worried about dying spiritually, becoming an animal, becoming less of my original self, less of my authentic self. My authentic self is to be around people, to talk with people, to say, "Hey, nice hat. Did you see the thing that happened on TV?" And if they buy into it, then you walk closer. I'm I'm an inappropriate toucher when I talk with someone, even if they're a stranger. I like to kind of touch the shoulder, the muscle, the bicep right here. I'll kind of pat underneath the elbow when people are talking to me, or I'll kind of like bump arms. I am like right up in your face. And I guess nowadays it would be an assault charge. I'm like right there next to people. I mean, this is how close I am. I miss that. I miss, well, I wasn't really fond of touching doorknobs before all this happened, but I miss the physical contact with things. Going, one of my podcast episodes titled Wrapping Up the Christmas Shopping Season During a Pandemic. And I talk a lot about how tactile I am. I like to I like to shop with my hands. I like to kind of touch, pick up things, rub it against my skin, which I'm sure by the time I've gone into a department store at 5 o'clock in the evening, there's been and thousands of grubby fingerprints on that already, some of them with E. coli, which before didn't bother us, but now we're all freaked out about it. Freaked out about a lot of things that I really wish we weren't freaked out about. And it's almost like we're spiritually shutting down. We need contact with people outside of our bubble. I love my cat. He drives me crazy just because he thinks that, oh, well, she's home all the time now. Who owns who? He is actually more domesticated than I am. When the mailman comes up to the door, I'm like, open up the curtains, look into the window. And there's a little peephole in the door. I'm like, what? Is that package for me? I get overly excited about things. I miss I miss talking with the postman. I miss chatting with the baristas when they're making my coffee. I miss waitresses lingering at my table just to say, "Hey, what's going on?" and to listen to them talk about their day because you can't imagine what it's like. I can't imagine what it's like to be a waitress nowadays and how it's almost like you're a do-si-do square dancer. Take 2 steps in, you take 2 steps out, you slide to the side, you take 2 steps in, you take 2 steps back, you spin around, go to the next table. And we're becoming mentally, physically, and metaphysically cut off from each other. It's really sad. I miss sitting on a park bench without taking a hanky and wiping down the backrest and then together, wiping down the seat before I sit down. I miss I miss feeling human. This has been really dehumanizing, and I feel like we're all shutting down. Our frontal lobes are shutting down. We're missing that stimulation that our brains need. Really need to turn that thing off when I go live. Yes. Imagine if we all sounded like that. We're all growling when we finally get touched by another human being. We're like, yes, yes, that way. No, not that way. We all turn into house cats. I feel that's what's happening to us. We're turning into house cats. We're turning into just feral creatures, craving being with another human being, even if it's just in a crowd watching a band play. It's not it's not enough to see it, and it's not enough to actually be there in person, but it's close. What humans thrive on, and that what keeps them from being feral, is the bioenergy from other people, of other men, of other women. We feed off of that. We feed off of other cultures, but we have to do it in person. We have to be there in person with others. There is a lack, the sterility to all of this. There's no sense of smell. There's no tactile touch. There's nothing to see except the same 4 walls. This is a closet with 3 walls. All we see is ourselves in the mirror. The only other human face, especially if you live alone, is your own reflection. Feel like I'm living in feel like I am living in opposite world, I guess. Hopefully that's not a copyrighted thing. Where things as they should be are the complete opposite of what they are right now. And our brains can't wrap our heads around it. It's almost like living two realities at once. You know what things were like, and you know how things are, and you're struggling to put those 2 things together to make it the current reality, and it's not. The brain craves what the brain craves. Those little fun things, those little moments, those little walks, stopping to smell a rose. It's really hard to smell a rose through a mask. I know, I know what you're probably saying. Well, everyone needs to get vaccinated. Not everyone is on board with that. It's not my decision to get them on board. That's not what this live stream is all about. This live stream is to talk about how feral we are becoming by living in our little cubicles, talking to our little screens, and having make believe relationships with people we can't touch, we can't smell, we can't wrestle the blanket from. That our senses are being dulled. Our tactile, our sense of taste, smell, touch, those are being dulled by all of this. A lot of people are feral and they don't even realize it. And that's true death. That's death. That's zombieism right there, is because you don't realize that you're dead. Your body is still animated, but what makes you, your personality, those memories, your reactions to things are either overreactions, underreactions, or no reaction at all, because you don't know how to react because you've been told for so long, don't react that way. Hopefully, as states, open up, we'll kind of like ease our way back into it. I hope so. At this point, like I said, people are either rushing to get back to their normal, or withholding or completely ending the old normal. And there has to be a balance. There has to be, okay, find a way to live carefully and get back as much, and this is just my opinion, and get back as much of your pre-COVID life as you can. I want to see people on TV kissing. Have you noticed that there are not a lot of new productions of people kissing? Someone sent me an article that apparently on soap operas, live sex scenes were being done with a blow up doll as a stand in. Porn has finally come to daytime TV. Yeah, ridiculous. Ridiculous. Absolutely. Hopefully, hopefully we can shake this off. Hopefully there's no lasting damage. There's no lingering fear or being so on guard with things. Hopefully we can remember our happiness, regain our happiness, and just be happy. As you can see on the banner for this channel, my email is just.my.opinion.podcast2020@gmail.com. I do have a Cash App ID if you want to support this YouTube channel and my podcast, but you have to go over to the podcast to donate. That would be the next thing that I do to update this channel, is to bring over the Cash App ID so you can be like, I have to do the extra work. I'm looking to get a studio with 4 walls and a better setup, and possibly one of those virtual backgrounds so you're not looking at the utility box in the closet. It's a work in progress. And I am getting even closer, inching closer to the minimum subscribers needed for YouTube so I can have a live video through my mobile device. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for watching my videos. Make sure to subscribe, like the videos, and share them with your friends and family. Share my opinion with theirs, and they're more than welcome to give me feedback through the email with their opinion. We have to be able to disagree with people. We have to be able to say, that's not right, and here's my evidence. And listening to somebody's evidence of how you're wrong doesn't mean that you're broken or, I mean, doesn't even change people. Even when they're presented with evidence that they're wrong, it doesn't mean that your world has come crashing in. It just means that you have enough room in in yourself to allow people who are different from you to have their own opinion, and it's okay. I been get email. I'm like, oh well, thank you for your feedback. Is my standard reply when it seems like any reply other than that would just be in setting off more fireworks. I allow We're supposed to have different opinions. If we were all mentally and logically monochromatic, what kind of world would that be? Certainly not a free thinking world, and certainly not a world that can grow and learn from itself.